Freizeitpark Plohn is a heavily wooded theme park in East Germany. Opening in 1996, this park combines fairytale and western theming over its 62 acres. And the park also has some notable attractions such as the lesser talked about El Toro and the recently opened Dynamite. But is this park worth visiting? Find out in this review of Freizeitpark Plohn. Going into my visit, I had not heard much about this park, and the primary culprit is this park's location. Most coaster enthusiasts visit the major parks in western and northern Germany, but few make it to the East German parks. Since my trip included both the West German parks and the Polish parks, Freizeitpark Plohn was the perfect pit stop in the middle of my drive. Freizeitpark Plohn has a unique feel to it. In some ways it feels like Knoebels, because it's tucked entirely in the woods, and it features a mismatch of pathways. Some parts of the park are paved, while other sections have dirt or cobblestone paths. At points, I questioned if I was even on a walkway that was supposed to be accessible to guests. But along with that woodsy feel, Freizeitpark Plohn also had some more theming than expected. The park had a Fairytale Forest section, plus an extensive western themed area. A lot of attractions either had themed queue lines or dark ride sections. As of 2021, Freizeitpark Plohn costs €32 for adults. While the park may not have as many rides as Germany's other major parks, there are still 6 roller coasters, including 2 large and unique ones, plus a few notable non-coasters. I thought it was a fair price for what the park had to offer. One policy to watch out for is that this park has a no re-entry policy as of 2021. I'm not sure if this was just due to COVID or the norm, so definitely let me know down in the comments if you know. One issue with Freizeitpark Plohn is the capacity of their attractions. 5 of their 6 coasters can only run one train, and the one that can run multiple trains in Dynamite only seats 8 riders per train, and I've heard it has a tendency to only run with one train anyway. I visited on a dreary summer weekday, and most rides still had full queue lines. The worst 2 lines were Miniwa and El Toro, and both had roughly 45-minute waits. Then Dynamite had roughly a 30-minute wait once the second train was added. Even the trio of Kiddie and Junior coasters were roughly 15 to 20-minute waits. The few flat rides the park had and the water rides had much shorter waits, although the latter may have been due to the weather. I was not expecting the lines to take as long as they did at Freizeitpark Plohn, because crowds seemed to be much less of an issue in the other trip reports I had seen from the park. The 2 headlining attractions are El Toro and Dynamite. El Toro was the 3rd GCI in Europe, and it's one of the company's smallest roller coasters, standing just 80 feet or 25 meters tall, but it has a very unique layout. It has an aggressive first third with some quick turns and rapid pops of airtime as it dives over and under the log flume. Unfortunately, the ride gets progressively weaker as it goes. The quartet of bunny hills in the middle of the ride had weak airtime at best, and the final few hills had no airtime at all. The ride did mix in some decent laterals, and the heavily wooded setting amplified the sense of speed. While it may be one of GCI's weaker roller coasters, it's still a fun ride for the reasons I go into in a separate review. Dynamite is the park's largest roller coaster. Opening in 2019, this Mack Big Dipper is a super compact ride with 3 great inversions. I love the hang time on the wing over first drop, and the 0G roll in particular. Then the coaster also mixes in some forceful valleys and pops of airtime. The ride is short, but it packs a solid punch, and it offers an experience comparable to a supersized Gerstlauer Eurofighter. Plus, this ride has a super well-themed queue line, loaded with western theming, and even animatronics. I go into more detail in a separate review, but this is a decent coaster. The other 4 coasters offer much less thrills. Miniwa is an interesting indoor Mach-powered coaster. It feels more like a dark ride, to be honest. You get 3 laps in this coaster. The first is taken very slowly, so you can admire all the details, while the next 2 laps are faster, with a speed more comparable to the average Mach-powered coaster. But to be honest, I wish all the laps were slow, because there were so many details to take in the expansive set pieces. I was not expecting this ride to have as much theming as it did. Plohn is a Zier Jr. coaster plussed by some Atlantis theming in the pre-lift and a location above the water. It's a smooth and comfortable ride for all ages, and if you ride in the very back row, you get a surprising pull over the first drop. This seems to be a signature of the Zier family coasters. The final two coasters are nothing special. You have Drakenwirbel, which is a 3-loop SPF Visa spinner, and Family Coaster, which is a wacky worm. Moving on to the water rides, you have two notable ones. Wild Wasserbahn is a mock log flume that starts by going through a devil's mouth and then through a dark ride section. The rest of the ride interacts with El Toro, and the final drop is quite tall, and it features an awesome head chopper. Then you have Flug des Tautats, which is one of those spinning rapids rides you commonly find in Europe. This rapids ride honestly feels more like a spinning ride than a water ride because you spin non-stop once you crest that lift. Now the biggest issue I have with this park's ride lineup is the lack of flat rides. There are only a few for both kids and adults. I think a flat ride package scattered across the park would be a very worthwhile investment for the park. The biggest benefit is that these attractions could help pull guests from the headlining attractions. The lack of rides is one of the reasons the queue lines for the roller coasters were so busy all day long. The park does have a wide range of themed walkthrough exhibits and play areas though. The latter were particularly popular amongst kids. Since the ride queues took more time than anticipated, I did not have any time to try any food. From what I saw, the park didn't seem to have too many food stands. Most were located towards the center of the park on the western themed street. So do I recommend Freizeitpark Plohn? It's a decent park if you're either in East Germany or passing through. El Toro and Dynamite are two enjoyable rides, and then the rest of the park looks great between the theming and woodsy feel. This park just has a very relaxing vibe to it. Hopefully you have better luck with the queue lines in the future if you visit, and/or the park can add some additional attractions to better disperse crowds. Freizeitpark Plohn probably isn't a full-day park for a coaster enthusiast, but there are several other attractions nearby. You have a whole lot of mountain coasters, but I think the best strategy for a coaster enthusiast is to combine both Plohn and the nearby Belantis into one day. If you have young kids, there are more than enough play areas to keep them busy for a full day of Freizeitpark Plohn. So those are my thoughts on Freizeitpark Plohn, one of the largest parks in East Germany. Have you been to this theme park? What do you think about the rides and/or theming? I would love to hear what you think about this place down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.